Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. I'm super excited that you watch each week, that you reach out to me, and that you're encouraged by some of this stuff, because people shared wisdom with me and I got encouraged, and now I find joy in sharing it with you so that you can get encouraged, and then we can be encouraged together and just be overflowing with a little bit more joy and hope. Hope is huge because hope changes our atmosphere, or our attitude, so that we can move forward in the difficult times that maybe we're walking through. I had someone yesterday say to me, everything is making sense now. Like, I have hope for the future. And those words are like music to my ears. They feed my soul like nothing else does. And so Wednesday Wisdom hopefully will do the same thing for you. And then when all of y'all are messaging me back, or many of you, maybe not all of you, many of you message me back and give me feedback and add to the wisdom, and then it just gets bigger. So I've been digging in this year to some Psalms and some Proverbs and some New Testament, and I'm doing it in the Passion Translation, because we love the Passion Translation. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. It's just an amazingly simple translation of actually what the word was meant to say. My husband, the chemist, likes to say it's the spirit of the word, not just the translation of the word, because a lot of things don't translate. Sometimes the Old Testament was translated into Hebrew or Aramaic, and sometimes it was translated into Greek, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference in both perspectives. And so this translation literally pulls the both of it and just explains what the author was meaning to say. So this week's encouragement I titled 2 Points of View, because I've been walking through a season and I look back over my life and I can see this over and over and over again, where there's always 2 points of view, but I only lock on to one. And it jumped out at me in the Word a couple weeks ago. So I'm just going to read like one sentence, literally, out of Matthew chapter 16, verse 23. And Jesus turns to Peter and says, "Get out of my way, you Satan. You are an offense to me, because your thoughts are only filled with man's point of view and not with the ways of God." And what jumped out at me immediately was the point of view, the different points of view. And so as I kind of meditated on that, prayed about it, asked Jesus about it, what I felt like I understood was Peter was operating out of a place of his emotion. Jesus was saying, hey, we got to go to Jerusalem. I'm going to be crucified. I'm going to be beaten. I'm going to be crucified. But it's all okay. It's part of the plan. And Peter responds out of his emotions and is like, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to fight. And Jesus is saying, no, you're looking at it from your emotional perspective. And I want you to see it from God's perspective, because from God's perspective, there was a plan of salvation in play. They were mid-play in this act of providing a way of salvation, of eternal salvation for the whole world. And Jesus is saying, Peter, stop looking at it from your emotions and start looking at it from heaven's perspective, from your spirit. Because you see, we are body and soul and spirit, and we get to choose if we want to look at our circumstances and respond to our circumstances from our emotion, or if we want to respond to them from our spirit. And when our spirit is connected to Jesus through Holy Spirit, then we can get heaven's perspective on this. Do you see the power in this? Do you see how amazing this is? Because everything changes when we step out of our emotions or out of our intellect, because our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. When we step out of our emotions and our intellect and we step into our spirit, we start to look at our circumstances and interact with our circumstances from our spirit, then everything can change. Nothing can change when we're being emotional, or nothing can change when we're stuck in our intellect. Well, no, this is what I believe and I'm not going to change it. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you spoken that? Well, no, it has to be this way. This is the way I think it has to be this way. And Jesus is inviting us through this story with Peter to step out of that and step into what God sees, step into God's perspective. This is amazing, because everything can change when we partner with what God sees instead of trying to fight against it ourselves. Everything changes. When there's conflict, solutions happen. When there's confusion, clarity comes. When there's oppression, freedom is released, because all of that comes from what I will call, very bravely, a greater reality, because the spirit is a greater reality than the flesh. The spirit is eternal. It has to be a greater reality than the flesh. So what I want to encourage you today with is, think about like one situation. Like, just start small. Start with one situation. Think about one situation and what your perspective is on that. Are you looking at it from emotional? In other words, it's wounding your heart. It's scary. You're feeling angry, unsafe, fearful, hateful. And let's step out of it from the intellectual, because remember, our soul is our mind, and stop thinking, well, this is my experience. This is the way I choose to look at it. This is my perspective. Stop looking at it from that place and start looking at it from, God, show me what you want me to see. Show me what you want me, or let me hear what you want me to hear. Because you see, I believe, and this is what I've experienced in the last couple of months, and when I look back over my whole life, that God has something for us to bring into the situation that's ours, that we get to bring in. It's a fresh perspective. It's a solution. It's a creative opportunity. It's an element of love. It's wonderful things, solution-oriented things that bring goodness into the situation, that are designated for us to bring in. And so it's all the more important, if we want to see solutions, if we want to see reconciliation, if we want to experience peace and a good night's sleep, that we see it from heaven's perspective. And we can do that when we say yes to Jesus. He gives us Holy Spirit. Once we have Holy Spirit, we can ask God, show my spirit, show me through Holy Spirit what I need to see. Help me hear what I need to hear. Show me what I bring into this situation, so there's resolution, so there's peace, so that positive things move forward. I hope that encourages you today. I think it's brilliantly amazing. I'm in awe of how God designed us to be this triune being, body, soul, and spirit. And that when we let our spirit lead us into situations, then our mind and our emotions follow. And then our heart comes into agreement behind that. It's like a little train. It's like a little train, and Holy Spirit gets to lead our spirit. And then we're going in the right direction. And who doesn't want more peace? Who doesn't want more solutions to problems? Who doesn't want more abundance coming back? Because when we pour in from the Spirit, abundance comes back. It's part of the fruit. It's part of God's promises for us, because He wants us to partner with Him. So I hope that encourages you. Reach out to me, because a lot of this is rooted in what we do in our Empowerment Through Identity course, and that is available online too. So even though you might not have me personally at my table, we can get around a virtual table and work through this together. So I love you. Have a great Wednesday, and just enjoy the day. Valentine's Day is coming up tomorrow, so make sure that you love on the people in your life. We'll see you later.